Thank you for talking to me about this. I am having so much fun with the show, and your character in particular. I also love that this is a show about two women, one being a disgraced journalist in need of a great story, and then this other young woman and mother who's convicted of this crime she says she didn't commit. Was that really sort of one of the most appealing elements of the story to you? Was that something you were looking forward to exploring, especially seeing how it had a little bit of humor injected into it?
Mhm. It was, and then it wasn't. I felt a little sketchy about it, because this is the first thing I've ever done in TV and film
Which is
ever.
crazy.
Insane. And I didn't know whether or not I wanted that to be folks' first impression of me. So when I was auditioning for the show and I had read it, I was a little iffy about it. And I was talking to my manager, and he was like, "You know what? What if we get you on the phone with the writer so that you can sort of see what the direction is for the whole series?" And when I got on the phone with Rebecca Addelman, I was overwhelmed by how much I enjoyed her and how much I connected with the vision of the show, and that it was humorous, and I was hooked. And then I got the part, which I was very overwhelmed by. And yeah, that element of me being an incarcerated woman and this disgraced journalist and us trying to, it's like a Thelma and Louise sort of situation, but probably worse because we just can't seem to connect. It was very interesting to me, and it all came to life when we started shooting, and I was thrilled from then on.
Yeah, I love how she's sort of got to rely on this woman who is just a complete mess. And it's sort of not the person you'd want to have to rely on to, like, come through in such a big way.
No, and Toni questions it the entire time. And I even think the audience will question it too. It's like, why are you with this woman? She's such a mess. And Toni's a bit of a mess too, where it's like, I have my things together, but for some reason I just keep going back to her. I don't know why I keep choosing her, but yeah.
What have you liked about her as a character and about playing her from day one? Are there things that you just, once you stepped into her, were there things that you just really enjoyed about her?
I loved her sense of humor. I loved how unabashedly herself she is, Toni. I love her interests. When I was collaborating with Rebecca Addelman, I was like, what if she's into anime? Or what if she's into what if she's into these things that you wouldn't necessarily associate with a Black woman who's incarcerated? And that was a lot of fun for me. And I was also invited into the writer's room to kind of give those suggestions as well. And I love how funny Toni is. It's like how funny you are being locked up and having a sense of humor about this woman who's making a mess of trying to figure out a way for you to get out is really interesting and requires a lot of trust. She even though she's skeptical of Beth, she trusts her to a degree. So yeah, I loved all of those aspects of playing Toni.
I love that because this story does run that risk of dipping into a white savior story, that it does point that out. It addresses it pretty early on. Was that something that you also thought was important, that it says something? It says, we know that this is what we might be seen as, so we're going to say it before you think it.
Say it before you think it. That was one thing I was so impressed by with Rebecca, was how bold and brave she is. She was like, I want to bring in these topics and I don't want to shy away from them. And I want her to be a mess, a disaster, like Beth Burgess's character. And I want it to, but that's the world that we live in. And it's the one thing that I admire about Rebecca is she wants to call those things out. And for folks to even talk about it too, like we're talking about it now.
Yeah.
But like, in a world of being politically correct and cancel culture and all that stuff, you do shy away from bringing up topics like that. But I think that's what makes this piece very, very good.
Yeah, especially when we all live in a world now where we know what to call it, it's hard not to address it. It seems less true when you're not saying, like, I recognize this is the situation.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny, that scene where she is called out in Pop Bite, I always giggle because she had no idea. She was like, yeah, I know, but they're like, no, but do you really know? And I love that it was a group of, a group of individuals who are younger than her trying to school her so that she doesn't make a fool of herself. Very funny.
Yeah. Did you care whether or not your character really did what she's been accused of? Was that something like whether or not she's really guilty? Was that something you even cared to have a definite answer on? Is that something that mattered to you, or was it more about how this position she's in affected and changed her?
It didn't matter to me because I believed that I was innocent. I mean, especially as an actor, you have to play what it is that your character is saying, and it's like, no, I'm innocent, period. And I loved, like, I did get all the scripts, but I tried my best to just read each script as we were shooting. I did read all of them at once, but as we were shooting, I wanted to really get into the mindset of what my character was doing right then and there. And it's like, if I'm innocent right then and there, that's where I'm at. And I believed it. And so I can't wait for people to see whether or not I am innocent or guilty. I'm actually interested to find out too, because it's been so long since we shot it. But yeah, it mattered to me, but then it wasn't my sole focus. There was a lot of other things to focus on.
I mean, I'm believing her at least in the first 3 episodes, and I don't know what might happen along the way, but I'm feeling for her. So,
well, thank you for feeling for her. No, things change up, and also that's part of Toni's character too, is her survival. It's like, I'll play to the right people who are in front of me, and then when they're gone, I have other things going on.
I love what you're doing on the show and with this character. And as a newcomer to Hollywood, what's it like for you to step into this role, take on a 10-episode series, have a high-profile co-star like Kate Beckinsale? What are you learning about it all?
Everything. I'm learning everything. And I am not afraid to say, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Juilliard definitely prepared me for this, and that, like, when you have a question, ask a question. And I also know how to prep as an actor. I know I'm a good actor. I believe in myself. And, I'm also a spiritual person. So I'm accepting the gift of this 10-episode series. And I just believed. I believed that I could get it done. And they believed in me too. So it's overwhelming, but I can do it. I know I can do it. And I did it. So, and here we are doing this press junket, first press junket ever. It's, all of it is very overwhelming, but I can do it. I believe in myself.
Where do you hope it takes you next? I mean, have you thought about the kinds of projects you want to do? Are there specific types of roles you want to play, or any person like in history you'd like to take on?
Mm-hmm. I've been looking at historical figures lately, like Audre Lorde. I've always wanted to do like a biopic of her and playing her. I would love to continue to do theater. It is my first love. So doing a show on Broadway has always been, I've done an off-Broadway show, but I'd love to do a Broadway show. And I have little things that I want to do. Like right now I'm shooting a period piece, and that is something I never thought I would do. And I think also trusting that, like, when the right project appears, like, I'm going, and I want to do it. So I have visions of things that I want to do, but life is long, and hopefully I'll have a long career, and I'll get to make projects that I've always wanted to make.
And it's cool that you get to do drama and humor in this, so that people can see both sides of that as well.
Yeah. No, I'm grateful for this show for sure.
Well, awesome. I appreciate you talking to me about it. I'm so excited to take the journey with her and see where she ends up.
Yeah, no, me too, but yeah. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.